Welcome to the Recon Trader. In today's video, I will share with you some tactical analysis over on the Bitcoin chart as Bitcoin appears to be range bound. And so we will take a look at what is needed for Bitcoin to break out towards the top side, or on the flip side, break out towards the downside. And the first thing I want to start with today is actually identifying the current trend. That's probably one of the most important things you need to do when you are trading Bitcoin. And so we will start over here on the 1 week chart. And if we look back, we can see from the all-time high of 69,000, Bitcoin has pretty much sold off and is now moving sideways, as I mentioned, or is pretty much range bound between pretty much 46,000 and say 43,000. Bitcoin has been moving in between that range over the last several weeks. Now, in some circles, they'll argue this is actually an upwards trend, because if we go back to the sell-off to 28.8, we are actually still somewhat moving upwards and maintaining a higher low versus the 28.8. And in all fairness, if we look at Bitcoin's all-time price action, it's obviously in an upward trend. As a trader, I'm actually interested in a little shorter time frame, and that is why I'm looking back at the previous all-time high. And since that time, we've pretty much been selling off, and now more recently moving sideways. Now, I know you'll hear it on a lot of crypto channels, zoom out. I prefer to zoom in. As a trader, again, I want to look at shorter time frames. So we're going to zoom in to the 1 day chart. And again, if we look back here at the all-time high of 69,000, we see the same trend where the price action sold off to around 32.9. And now we are pretty much range bound, moving sideways between 46,000 and that 32.9 or 33,000 level. Bitcoin has pretty much been bouncing in between that range. This price action has made for some pretty easy trades. I've posted a few of the shorts, 1 or 2 of my long results. Now, if we zoom in a little closer and jump over here to the 4-hour chart, again, pretty much the same price action. It's range bound pretty much from February all the way through March. We have been moving between that 33 to 46,000 range. And as you can see, there's been perfect opportunities for short or long opportunities. You can see double tops, or you could have gotten long back here. I think I had a long placed somewhere in this area, and while I wish I could have said I got out up here, I actually ended up getting out when the price started to move sideways. And so if you're newer to trading, it's often easier to trade with the trend. And so right now, Bitcoin is moving downward and just beginning to move sideways, which could then mean a breakout in either direction. It can actually break up or break down. Time will only tell, and so we'll keep an eye on the charts. I will also keep an eye on indicators that I have created, like my Recon onboard volume trend with divergences. And the objective of this indicator is to give me an idea at a quick glance of trend direction, while measuring volume and showing me pivot points where we could be going into like bearish or bullish divergences. So in the near future, I will be releasing this indicator publicly on TradingView, but right now it's still in development. I'm working out a couple glitches to get it as dialed in as I possibly can. And so taking a quick look at this indicator, it appears that Bitcoin is now starting to roll over, and it could be headed into a bit of a sell-off similar to what we saw back here, where we hit a pivot top and then started to sell off. We hit a pivot top over here, and now Bitcoin is starting to sell off. But with that being said, I need confirmation from other indicators along with the current price action. I don't ever place trades based on a single indicator. But if we zoom into the Bitcoin price, you might have seen a double top setup. Then with that indicator of the pivot being right here at the 42.4, you could have gotten short once you started to see the price roll over, and you might have taken profit as the price approached perhaps down here around prior support. But with that all being said, let's jump back over here to the daily chart, and we'll add the EMA ribbon back to the chart and take a look at where Bitcoin's price is in relation to the EMA ribbon. Now, if you follow my videos, You are fairly familiar with how I use the EMA ribbon. Basically, when the price of Bitcoin breaks above, that is typically a bullish signal, and when the price breaks down below the ribbons, that is typically a bearish signal. Now, we've had a couple fake outs, but notably, when these breakouts occur above the ribbon is still flipped. Your bullish EMAs are on the bottom and your bearish EMAs are on top. And right now, that is actually starting to tighten up, and perhaps if we see this ribbon flip where the green and the blues are above the reds and the yellows, and the price of Bitcoin, if it can hold the line and stay above that EMA ribbon, that could indicate that Bitcoin is ready for a bullish run. Now, I would also like to see it get above this orange line you currently see, and that is the 120-day moving average. Typically, once Bitcoin flips the ribbon and breaches above the 120, we can see a pretty good move, much like we saw back here where you see the price is above the 120 and flips the ribbon. We see a push to all-time new highs, and that included a bounce into the ribbons, but never breaking down below your bullish ribbons, which are, again, the greens and the blues. Now, if we drop in the Fibonacci levels, I'll actually get rid of the ribbon real quick so we can see the Fibonacci levels a little easier. And so on the daily chart, Bitcoin is currently just above the 786 or the 40,665 level. Definitely would want to see Bitcoin's price hold above this blue line. However, you can see how many times it has dipped down below. That could certainly be a signal to get short if this price action closes down below the 786 level on the daily. Now, I prefer to trade on a shorter time frame. So more than likely, if the price closed down below that 786, I would look at the 4-hour, the 1-hour, then perhaps even the 15-minute time frames and see how that price action corresponds to the one-day chart and the breach below this 786 level. Now, on the flip side, Bitcoin is having a problem getting above the 618 level on the Fibonacci, and actually it's also having a problem getting above 45.5. And so until Bitcoin's price can get above the 618 level or 46,700, we are more than likely going to continue to see this choppy price action again between 33,000 and let's just call it 47,000 as far as the top side. Now, if we zoom out a little further to the weekly charts, I'll add back in the EMA ribbons. And as you can see, last week's candle, which closed yesterday, today being Monday, it closed yesterday. Bitcoin did once again get rejected at the bottom of the ribbon, much like it did the previous week. However, last week, Bitcoin did manage to hold on to most of its gains, and so this week's candle, which is currently only a few hours old, will be interesting to see whether it can finally push above and close above the EMA ribbon and keep the ribbon from flipping bearish, or does Bitcoin's price sell off back into this level that we've been watching for several weeks now as support. And if I drop in the Fibonacci levels, you can see that Fibonacci on the weekly chart comes in at the 786 Fibonacci, which is right at 37,400. That has acted as a pretty good level of support over the last several weeks. And at a minimum, we would want to see it continue to act as support. If this line did get breached, then we could be looking back down at that 32.9 level as far as the next level of support. Now, on the flip side, the 618 level or the 44,000 level is currently resistance, and you can see that also would be the top of the EMA ribbon currently. So this would be a pretty heavy level of resistance for Bitcoin to get above. But if it is able to get above this level, then we could see a push back up into the 50% Fibonacci level, which would put us right around 49,000. And so for longer term price targets, the bulls will want to keep an eye on the 618 level or 44,000. If the price of Bitcoin could get above that, that could be a very bullish signal. However, on the flip side, the bulls will also want to keep an eye on the 786 level, which is your 37,400. If the price breaks below that, that would be very bearish, and at that point we'd be looking back down at around 32.9 or call it 33,000, a break below that, and then we could be headed back to 28.8. So with that all being said, Bitcoin is essentially currently moving sideways or is range bound, and we are just waiting for a breakout towards the top or the downside, and I'm basically just taking advantage of trading within the range. So that's enough jaw jacking. If you like this video, do me a favor, spike a like. If there's any big changes in the price action, I'll do an update video, so you might want to shoot that subscribe button so you don't miss update videos. If you have questions or comments, drop them in the comment section down below. And at the end of the day, remember, never send your money into battle without first doing your recon. See you in the next video.